Hello and welcome to this tutorial part 3 Minka Lesk. And gosh, as you can see, I'm putting some wash on down here. Yeah, I just have to say it's I've had no end of technical difficulties with this tutorial, so please bear with me. I've been plagued, my friends, plagued. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, I think it was Agrex Earthshade or Seraphim Zipia. It was one of those two. You'll see that I did miss it actually, but I'm applying it on the head bandage or the head wrap back of the neck there, and across the some of the metallics on the model there, as you can see. These tutorials, I thought this was going to be in 4 parts actually, but this one is actually I'm narrowing it down to 3. It doesn't end like in a very well, not what I would call like a safe place. It doesn't end in what you'd call a completed area, but yeah, there will be a 4th part to this. So we're going on to some black wash now. Game wash of Vallejo. It's a nice wash, this color. And sorry, I'm having to narrate this retrospectively because this was filmed what seems to me like yonks ago now. So I was putting the black wash there on the stone work, as you can see. I did think to myself, yeah, the base needs some work here, guys. I'm still quite happy with the way the tutorial is progressing forwards, or the way this figure is progressing forwards. Minka Lesk. It's just a matter of time and not really having much of it. That's the problem. It's a huge problem. But that's what I'm endeavoring to sort. Administratum Grey, folks. Nice layer paint there by a Citadel. Let's see where we put this one. Nicely thinned down, of course. All the paints in this tutorial were. And when I say by nicely thinned down, I mean kind of at least a 1-to-1 mix here. So I just pop it over certain areas of the stonework there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I'm hoping the next part part 4 will be a good place to end it. Screaming Skull. Yes, I'm hoping that part 4 will see this miniature come to a position where I will call it, adequate. I don't think I'll ever think of this model as completely done. But as you can see, each little area that you do adds to it as a whole. And don't forget, this is all real time. So what I was doing there, I was choosing my brush, Artificer Layer brush from Citadel, believe it or not. And now I'm mixing the paints required, which would be finished item grey. Sorry, Screaming Skull. I'm not editing that. I've had enough technical issues with this tutorial, but I'm pleased to say we're plowing ahead with it. Right, Gracia, a nice grey actually. I like using that color for priming from the spray cans that Citadel do. Gracia is a nice prime to use, so using it as a layer paint, it's kind of cool because it kind of helps you later on if you should wish to shade or glaze certain areas of anything you want to do, and you just want to tone it down, but at the same time have that kind of underpinning lightness under the surface. I actually enjoy working on the base on Minka Lesk here. I was enjoying it quite a bit, as I recall. I mean, areas that need working on are such that, by the end of this tutorial, by the end of this, you could field her. All right. Just I want to go a little bit further. All right. Yeah. Carabberg Crimson. So looking for a bit of a red wash here. And as I recall, I thinned the wash down now, I would say heavily. So 3-1, like water to Carabberg Crimson. So I just wanted to put a very, very faint kind of blushing effect to the skin. Like blood rushing to the surface, just to make the skin appear a little more lifelike. And it's ever such a nuanced look. You could easily overlook it, but I just wanted to do that. Nocturnal red. Nocturnal red. And that's just color of the what you would call, I don't know, not the word cable. Cable's the word I'm looking for. That's it. It comes out under the bottom of the power sword there. It gets dulled down a bit later on anyway, but we will be coming back to it and possibly in the next tutorial. So don't worry about that. Don't think I'm leaving areas here. I'm just, my brain goes all over the place. This is neutral grey. One of my favorite grey, I have to say. Yes, so I will be leaving areas. You'll be thinking, oh, why are we leaving, or why is he leaving that area? Why is he not continuing that? I'm not the sort of person that methodically does like one area or one process and then move on to the next one. I chop and change. I go backwards and forwards. So please don't let that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not fool you exactly, but please don't let that mislead you in the wrong direction. Thinking I have forgotten it. I have not. Not any area have I forgotten about. And this tutorial, although I'm excited to be able to do it, the tutorial in total is taking me far, far longer than I was ever hoping it would. And I'm conscious of the fact that I do not want to rush it. So, anyway, neutral grey. Doing it with some highlights on top of the gun casing with the neutral grey. Neutral grey is great for all manner of things, whether you're highlighting or you're using it in a stone effect or you're mixing with other paints and lighter colors. I find it is fantastic for mixing. If you're going to use a grey, a light grey to mix with, this is certainly one I would use in sort of the medium range, between dark and light. I would certainly use this. I would certainly have this in the mix. Very well worth it, and you can use it to bring all manner of transitions to life. Absolutely fantastic. Just whenever you are highlighting in this sort of manner, just don't overdo it. You can overdo these things. I think. Bear in mind that you're looking at this figure. It's a little bit bigger than it is in real life now on the screen, but you'll be holding it. Well, you'll see it a lot further away than this. Yeah, if you go by the 3 feet rule, these little nuanced highlights and things, they will look good. I promise you. They will look better than a standard tabletop finish when you come to a finish. You know, just putting a little bit more into it. I I don't ever have an idea of how long a model is going to take when I start. When I say how long it's going to take from start to finish, I mean, you literally are seeing pretty much every brush stroke here. So I suppose in total, to get to this stage, it's not really that long of a time. If you look at the part one and part two tutorials that went before this one, but it's longer than I would do to aim for a standard tabletop. See, although the paints and processes haven't been done in the same order, by the end of this tutorial, I would say that's quite a good tabletop standard. But I just want to go a little bit further with Minka, Lesk being like a main character and so on. So I just wanted to put a little more effort into it. So that is why we're going to be doing part 4. Don't shout about the fatigues. I know about that. I will be coming back to those. Not in this tutorial, but they will be done. I'll do a little bit more on the armor as well. And of course, the base itself does need finishing off. Who doesn't like a good base, right? I was actually a bit surprised because this artificial layer brush is probably about 8 years old. That sounds like a lot, but I haven't really used it hardly at all. So it's not really had much wear and tear at all. I do prefer other brushes, and my main favorite brush at the moment is Artist Opus. It's just that the artificial layer brush, it was there, and I thought it was a great um, size for what I was wanting to use. So we're going with black now, and this is a matte black, which I love, by the way. Game color, matte black. You can't beat it, really. There are many blacks out there. I suppose Abaddon black and things like that. I would probably only use, certainly if I was painting for display, I would only use for areas of certain black leather boots, certain areas of them, and certain areas of gun casing, possibly that are catching the light. The rest I would use the matte for. And I'll just let you know, if I'm painting ever for display, not gaming, I don't bother varnishing them because they're just sat on a shelf, and I just don't. Because they won't be being handled that much. But just got to bear in mind, if you're going to varnish, how you're going to varnish, and I always varnish by hand because I feel I've got more control over it, and also I can kind of get a vibe for how thick the varnish is going on. I don't like to varnish, but it is a necessary evil in my view. I don't mind varnishing for things like decals and transfers and things like that, because that is like a very pinpoint area effect and a specific location and has a specific purpose. And there's obviously no detail underneath the decal. The decal itself is the detail, so you haven't really got to worry about that. Again, I apologize for the quality of the video stream. Not the quality of the pixelation, but the quality of the frame rate and that. It's not being compatible well enough with my video maker at the moment. I don't know why. I have tried every technique I can think of. I've tried all the advice given to me, and I'm beginning to think it's just an incompatibility issue. I mean, it's running at 30 frames per second. It's I've tried to tweak it a bit better than that in this to go for like 29.9 or something frames per second, and it is a little bit better. It's Baylor Brown as well. We're going to be doing some mixing here. That's cool. Yeah, get some mixing going on. Also, I know, everybody that does tutorials has the same issue and problem, but I will say, it's not my favorite angle, but I think it is probably the best angle for you to see what is actually going on when I'm painting, with the brush strokes and that. It's probably the best angle for that. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. How I do this, how I film it, what I film it on. If I film it on a better camera, I can't get this angle, so it really is difficult for me. But there we go. Death Guard green, which is a very nice green. Going to use this on the armor, of course. Let's zoom in just a little more. Also, apologies for the different shots, the different lighting that you get. I'm just doing some scratches here, just some little scratches here and there across the armor. And again, I'll be leaving this and I won't be coming back to it until later on. So you'll be like, oh, that doesn't look so good. But you just got to bear with it. Trust in the process. Of course, if you was to follow the same color scheme that I'm going with here, you do it in whatever order you want, whatever's best for you and most comfortable for you, and ultimately most efficient for you. I mean, kind of making this up as I go along, a lot of it, but just look at the box art and think, what can I use? Oh, yeah, I'll use such and such a color. That looks like it could work. And to be honest, it's largely experimentation as well, but that's okay. I think scratching on armor looks really good. Not when you put the first lot on, like I'm doing here, and leaving it, I think, in this tutorial. But later on, when you put subsequent layers on, I think it looks really good. So don't panic at this stage. It's just designed to show that chips and wear and tear here and there. across the battlefield, really. Shots and ricochets and scrapes, clashes with melee weapons, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. She's battle worn, she's battle hardened, and so is her armor. And it's got to reflect in the paint job you do. Elysian green. We're doing a brief green. Oh, we're going with insane detail here. So quite a lot smaller. Now, this is the first of the subsequent layers that go on to Minka Lesk's armor. It will get better as the further we progress into the project. But, we're 3/4 of the way there by the end of this video, folks. So, not to worry. Not to worry. When you're doing this, don't be afraid to wipe your paint off onto your finger or fingernail, wherever's easier. Sometimes people do it just on the base or, on the back of the hand. Even on an insane detail brush, don't overload it. It's just so easy to overload it if you do that. Now, Astro Granite. One of my favorite bits, I think, because it's the most mind-numbing thing to do on an infantry model, and that is the base of grit or mud or whatever it is you're using to fill in those kind of liminal spaces of the base. In this case, Astro Granite, because it's grey, kind of a neutral color, gives you kind of a neutral for a battlefield. Could be at the edge of rubbled rubbled buildings. You could be on a grass plain somewhere, just with a pile of rocks around you. So it's not really thematic as such, but it goes on a dream. If it's a bigger base, I tend to use the little texture tool. If it's a smaller one, I tend to use a brush just to get around like feet and whatever other features are on the base itself. Only problem with this is you've got to wait for it to dry thoroughly. This is why I go off and do things in different orders. Okay. Rose red and skin there. Mixing those two colors together. This is what I'm going a little bit more on the skin here. To bring it out a little more. Not too much. Subtlety, I think, is the key with skin and particular faces, especially on a smaller model like an infantry size model. I think subtlety is the key. Just don't go OT on it and you'll be fine. Black shade wash by deep shade, and to be honest, any black shade wash will do here, whether it's null or whatever, just an ink, whatever. To be truthful, this was within easy reach, so I didn't have to get up for it. So that's what I used, because I was using it on something else just before doing this section of the tutorial. Also bear in mind, this section of the tutorial, look at that, it knocked it over. That's been filmed over the course of weeks, just grabbing a few moments here and there. Yeah, so just slather it on over the base, as like you can see here, and glaze over the top of the stones and whatever else is there. Just try to bring it all together a little bit more. As it's not a true glaze, it's a shade. You won't get quite that, but enough. Wraith Bone. What are we going to do with that? That looks to me like a dry brush. I think we might be dry brushing the Astral Granite, folks. There you go. There you go. And this is what I mean. It will bring us to a nice place you can stop if you want to. But do please stick around. There will be a final tutorial coming for this character. This is where I'm going to leave it at this stage because it is, you can use it now. But we will go a little further. So I'll join you on the next one, guys.